Hey everyone, this is Brian from newprediction.com. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create the dashboard that you see on the right hand side of the screen. We're going to be looking at some rat sighting data from the New York City Open Data portal, and on the left hand side you can see kind of the before chart, and then I'm going to take you step by step to create the chart that's on the right. So before we get into the video, I want to quickly review the actual steps themselves. So first off, we're going to connect to the NYC rat sightings dataset on data.world. Quick note there, you may need to create a profile on data.world. That's where the dataset lives that we're going to be connecting to. Second, we're going to create a highlight table, as you can see on the screen here. It's a pretty simple but really powerful data visualization, so that's what you're going to see exactly how to do here. The next thing we're going to do is create a monthly trend chart, and finally we're going to create a yearly trend chart. At the end here we're going to create the final dashboard, and what you can see now is that this is really just a highlight table. Let's kind of look at marker number 1. Marker number 2 shows that monthly trend, and then marker number 3 shows the yearly trend. I also add some formatting in, a couple of filters, a couple of dashboard actions to give it a little bit of interactivity, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and connect to the data here, and under the connect section come down to the server, and you want web data connector. I've recently connected to this data set, so I can already have the location here. You can find this on my blog over at newprediction.com/Tableau Highlight Tables. Alright, so we're all connected up now, and you can see all of the dimensions listed out here, a couple of measures, and we're ready to get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take create a date. We're going to right click and drag this up to columns, and we're going to select month of created date. Then we're going to come back over and grab the created date one more time. This time we're going to pick year on the rows section. Now we're actually going to create a new field off of this, a calculated field, and we're going to call this sightings, which is equivalent to the number of records. Quick pro tip on why we do that is because now we can come up here and set the default properties to a custom sequential, and we can set that to a dark blue color. Now let's bring that up to color, and let's also bring that up to our label. Set this to square, and we have ourselves a very quickly created highlight table. One thing you'll notice is that we actually have some data that spills into 2018. Just to make this a little bit cleaner, I'm going to remove that year. So let's go ahead and exclude 2018. The other thing I'm going to do is set this to fill the width. Go ahead and remove the field headers, and that's a little bit confusing right now, but we're going to take care of those later on. The other thing I'm going to do here is adjust some of the formatting, and that's looking like a pretty good highlight table right now. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is actually duplicate this sheet, and we are going to remove that from there, and let's go ahead and bring up sightings there and make this a bar chart. And now we have our bar chart showing the monthly trends, and so let's go ahead and actually remove the header there. One last thing I'm going to do here is select the abbreviation. Okay, so far so good on that one. Let's go ahead and rename this monthly trend, and while we're at it, we'll make this one. Okay, step 4 in the process is actually going to be to duplicate this again. We're going to call this one yearly trend, and let's go ahead and flip these so that sightings is now up in the columns, and instead of rows we want the easiest way to do this is just to select the year and then come down here and also select the perfect. Now we can come up to our okay, let's make this fit the height and adjust our labels so that they be out here, but we want them to be left aligned at the end of those bars. So we'll make them stack just like that. And that should be pretty much good for that one. Okay, quick recap. We've gone through step 1 was connecting to our data. Step 2 was creating the highlight table. Step 3 was creating the monthly trend. And step 4 was creating the yearly trend. So really step 5 is all about creating the final dashboard. So let's go ahead and create the dashboard. Drag over your highlight table. Let's drag our monthly trend to the top and our yearly trend to the side. Get rid of the legend there, not really necessary. And we need a blank, kind of a placeholder up there. Now this takes quite a bit of finagling, so I'm going to go ahead and just take care of some other formatting here as you can follow along. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of the grid lines here. Same thing over here. Get rid of these grid lines. Still got one here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we do have one here as well. Okay, that should take care of that one as well. Let's go ahead and hide all these titles. This one I'm going to leave because I need to use that eventually. One thing I like to do on these borders is actually come down here and reduce this just down to like 2 pixels on each of these sides here. Remove a little bit of the white space but leave some as a separation. Align these a little bit better. Those are pretty well aligned actually already, so I'm going to keep those as is. But I do need to increase the size of this dashboard. Okay, so far so good. Next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add in a filter here. Go ahead and select all of these and let's bring in that filter, all using the data source, and let's go ahead and make this a single value drop down. And let's also set this to floating and shrink that down. Okay, our layout's still looking pretty good. I want to increase the size on this one a little bit, and maybe on this one too. Okay, not bad. Let's go in and add our text box up at the top. Adjust the formatting here on the filter. Make sure that's set to floating. Sometimes it gets a little stuck. Here's a little trick for you. I want to include the actual borough here, so that way when you select any of these boroughs, you see the label there. A lot better there. Okay, so this is looking pretty decent. I see some little bit of overlap there, but again, this is just kind of more formatting. Probably want to shrink down the size of the, or increase the width of this a little bit. Okay, you just need to edit those until you get everything kind of lined up the way you want it to. A couple of other things here. These are pretty small, but I'm just going to get rid of any of the tooltips here. Not really necessary on this type of a graph, and they're a bit distracting. Of course, you could add something in there if you wanted to, but not really necessary for this demonstration. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do, okay, the final thing I'm going to do to give this a little bit of interactivity is to add some dashboard actions. These are going to be pretty straightforward. Just come down, add an action, a highlight action on the hover, and you'll see what that does here in a minute. Basically, if you hover over any month, it shows you all of the subtotals for that month, and of course you can kind of come through here and it gives it a little bit of interactivity, makes it a little bit more visually interesting. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial to see the dashboard that we created here in just a few minutes. Quick reminder, we started off with something that looked like this on the left-hand side. Lots of confusion, way too busy, way too complex, hard to identify any insights. Legends and labels weren't helpful very much up at the top here and listed out. And after, everything is really super clear. We can find some quick insights since I listed everything up at the top here. The smart filters help us make informed decisions. Now you can see here I went ahead and adjusted the formatting a little bit, made things look a little bit more clear and things stand out the way I wanted them to. Added a little bit of text down the bottom here with my information and crediting my sources, things like that. Added an icon up here. So I added a little bit more polish to the final version than I did for this quick demo. But you can find everything over, if you hit this URL up here, newprediction.com/Tableau Highlight Tables. You can download the workbook, you can download the PDF version of this guide and get more details as well. So hope this was helpful. Definitely leave a comment below if you create something and you want to share it. You can always follow me on Twitter. Check out my website, New Prediction, on Twitter, newprediction.com for the website. We'll catch you later.